She was never interested, or so I thought. But the truth behind her smile will break your heart. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see more stories like this. He met her on an ordinary evening, the kind of evening people forget easily. The sky was dull, the air heavy, and life felt stuck in the same routine he had been living for years. She was standing near the bus stop, scrolling on her phone, unaware that someone was about to remember this moment for the rest of his life. He didn't fall in love instantly. It wasn't dramatic. It was slow, silent, and dangerous. He noticed how calm she looked, how she stood slightly away from the crowd, like she belonged to a different world. When their eyes met for a second, she looked away quickly. That single second was enough for him. Days passed, and somehow, fate kept pushing them into each other's paths. Sometimes at the same cafe, sometimes at the same street corner, sometimes just crossing roads at the same time. Eventually, words replaced silence. Their conversations were simple. Weather, work, daily life. She laughed politely. She listened, but never deeply. He felt it but chose to ignore it. Hope can make a person blind. He started waiting for her messages. She replied late, sometimes with one word, sometimes not at all. Still, he waited. Still, he smiled at his phone like a fool. People around him noticed the change. He was quieter, more thoughtful, lost somewhere far away. One evening, he gathered the courage to ask her directly. Not love, not commitment, just a simple question. Do you ever feel something more? She paused. For the first time, her eyes didn't avoid his. They looked heavy, honest, almost guilty. No, she said softly. I don't. The word hit him harder than he expected, but he nodded, pretending it didn't hurt. He laughed it off, changed the topic, acted normal. But inside, something cracked. After that, she became distant. Messages became rare. Meetings became accidental again, not intentional. He tried to keep his dignity, but feelings don't listen to logic. One night, unable to sleep, he asked the question he had been avoiding. Did I do something wrong? She replied after a long time. No, you were kind. That's the problem. He didn't understand. I was never waiting, she continued. I was never looking for anyone. Then came the sentence that destroyed the illusion he had built so carefully. I'm getting married. The words stayed on the screen, unmoving, unforgiving. He read them again and again, hoping they would change. They didn't. He wanted to ask 1,000 questions, who, when, why, but his fingers refused to move. All he could type was one word. Oh. She apologized. Not dramatically. Just enough to ease her conscience. I didn't want to hurt you. But she already had. After that, silence returned, but this time it was permanent. He saw her once more, from a distance, shopping with her family. She looked happy. Or maybe just prepared. He realized something painful that day. Not all smiles are choices, some are responsibilities. He stopped going to the cafe. Changed his routes. Deleted her number but memorized it anyway. Life continued, but something inside him stayed unfinished. On the day of her engagement, he heard about it from someone else. A name he didn't know. A life he was never meant to be part of. That night, he sat alone, thinking about all the things he never said, all the dreams he built alone, all the futures that died quietly. She was never interested. Not because he wasn't enough. But because her story had already been written, with someone else. And he was just a chapter that didn't make it to the final book. Time didn't heal him the way people said it would. It didn't erase her face or the way her name felt in his chest. Time only taught him how to hide the pain better. He learned how to smile at work, how to joke with friends, how to say, I'm fine, without his voice breaking. But every quiet moment betrayed him. He stopped checking his phone at night, not because he didn't want to, but because he already knew there would be nothing there. Still, sometimes his fingers moved on their own, opening old chats, rereading messages that meant nothing to her and everything to him. He blamed himself often. Maybe he imagined things. Maybe he read kindness as affection. Maybe he should have asked earlier, walked away sooner, saved himself. Regret became a habit. Months passed. Life pushed him forward even when his heart refused to move. Then one afternoon, unexpectedly, her name appeared on his screen. His breath stopped. "Can we talk?" the message said. He stared at it for a long time. Part of him wanted to ignore it, to protect the fragile balance he had built. Another part, the foolish, hopeful part, still wanted answers. He replied. They met at a quiet park, far from crowds, far from memories. She looked different. Not happier. Just heavier. Like someone carrying a weight they couldn't put down. "I didn't want to disturb your peace," she said. "But I think I owe you honesty." He nodded, saying nothing. "I wasn't cold because of you," she continued. "I was scared. I knew where my life was heading, and I didn't want to want something I couldn't have." The words hurt more than rejection ever could. She told him about her family, the pressure, the decisions made without asking her heart. The engagement wasn't a celebration, it was an agreement. A duty. Something decided long before she met him. "I liked you," she admitted quietly. "More than I allowed myself to." That confession came too late. It didn't comfort him. It confused him. It reopened wounds he had spent months trying to close. "Then why did you stay?" he asked. "Because I didn't know how to leave without breaking myself," she replied. Silence filled the space between them. The park felt empty, even though people walked past them laughing, living their lives. "Are you happy?" he finally asked. She didn't answer immediately. "I will be," she said after a pause. "I have to be." That sentence told him everything. They said goodbye politely, like strangers who once shared something meaningful but were never meant to keep it. As she walked away, he realized something painful but necessary. Closure doesn't always feel like relief. Sometimes it feels like loss all over again. Her wedding day came quietly. No invitation, no message, just photos circulating online. She looked beautiful, perfect, exactly how society expects happiness to look. He stared at one picture longer than he should have. Her smile was there, but her eyes, they weren't searching anymore. They had accepted. That night, he didn't cry. He didn't break down. He simply sat with the truth. Not every love story ends with betrayal. Some end with timing. Some end with responsibility. Some end because two people meet at the wrong moment in life. He realized she wasn't cruel. She wasn't heartless. She was just already committed to a life she didn't choose, but couldn't escape. And he wasn't foolish for loving her. He was just human. For the first time, he let her go, not out of anger, not out of pain, but out of understanding. Yet somewhere deep inside, a quiet question remained unanswered. What if things had been different? Life moved on, the way it always does, without asking if he was ready. Mornings came, nights followed, and slowly the sharp pain softened into something quieter. Not gone, just less loud. He stopped expecting her name to appear on his screen. He stopped replaying old moments in his head. Or at least, he tried. He focused on himself. Work became his escape. Long hours, tired eyes, empty evenings. People praised his dedication, not knowing it was only a way to avoid thinking. Success came slowly, honestly. With it came a different kind of confidence, the kind built from surviving something you thought would destroy you. Years passed. One random evening, while attending a small gathering for work, he heard a familiar laugh. His body reacted before his mind did. When he turned around, there she was. Not the girl he remembered. A woman now. She looked calmer, softer, real. No wedding glow, no forced smile. Just someone standing there, breathing, existing. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Time collapsed into a single second. "Hi," she said. "Hi," he replied, surprised by how steady his voice sounded. They talked. Carefully. Respectfully. Like two people who once shared a silent understanding. She told him about her life. He told her about his. No complaints. No regrets spoken out loud. Then she said something he never expected. I got divorced. The word didn't shock him. It didn't excite him either. It just landed. I tried, she continued. I really did. But living a life you didn't choose slowly kills you. He listened, not as a man in love, but as someone who finally understood her pain completely. I thought about you many times, she admitted. Not because I wanted to come back, but because you reminded me of who I was before I learned to sacrifice myself. That was the moment he realized something powerful. He didn't want her anymore. Not in the way he once did. The version of himself that needed her had grown into someone stronger. Someone who didn't wait to be chosen. I'm glad you're okay, he said honestly. And he meant it. They walked outside together. The night was quiet. She hesitated, then asked the question she had been carrying for years. Do you think, if things were different? He smiled gently. Not sadly. Not bitterly. Things were different, he said. They made us who we are. She nodded, eyes slightly wet. They hugged, briefly. No longing. No promises. Just closure. As he walked away, he felt light. Not because he won something back, but because he had finally released what no longer belonged to him. Some people don't come into your life to stay. They come to teach you how to love, how to lose, and how to grow. She was never uninterested. She was just already committed to a life that wasn't hers. And he was never rejected. He was simply redirected toward something better. That night, for the first time in years, he slept peacefully, without memories chasing him. The story didn't end with them together. It ended with both of them free.